Good morning. It is Rebecca from Rebecca Inc. Today we are going to draw a koala bear. This is brought to you from Dahlia. Thank you, Dahlia, for the suggestion. What you need is a pencil, a marker, a piece of paper, and an eraser. Or you can use the back of your pencil too. Either way. Doesn't matter, you just need an eraser. All right, to get started, I'm going to move my guide. You're going to grab your pencil. I am going to use a marker so that you can see what I'm doing a little better. We're going to start in the upper left-hand side of our page with a circle that is just about this big, just like that. If you want to, you could do exactly what I'm doing. Touch your finger to your paper and get your whole arm going from your shoulder to get the idea of the shape. Just like I said, with your whole arm, get your arm going in a circle, and when you get the shape, set your pencil down. When you involve your larger muscles, it's easier to draw these shapes. So you see how mine, the lines go in and out and around and around and around, and they're not perfect? Yours are not going to be perfect either, and I don't want you to expect them to be perfect. This is our sketch. In the long run, we will erase all of this pencil, and you'll be left with a beautiful drawing. So let's just relax and go with it and let it happen. At the top, our koala has two gorgeous big ears. They kind of remind me of Mickey Mouse. So we're going to draw a circle about that big, and it's going to overlap our head just a little bit there. Same thing on the other side. Get your whole arm going from your shoulder and go around and around and around and around. Inside those circles, let's add the inner circle. If you're inclined to color your picture that you draw, which I've seen lots of kids doing, this part would be pink. All right, from there, let's move to the inside of our koala bear's face, and let's draw an oval right here for their noses. It's going to be just a little bit above the middle of that circle where your oval is going to live, so right about there. It's going to be kind of wide, just like that. This is going to be our koala bear's nose. Their noses are rounded at the top and squared off at the bottom. So let's add in a little square at the bottom. To get that square shape, I am using a combination of my forearm and my hand. So it's more like a rectangle. So go ahead for the bottom part of it. Plant your arm from your elbow and just move your arm back and forth, lift it up, back and forth and back and forth. And then for that downward motion on that rectangle, I'm planting my wrist and moving my fingers back and forth, just like that. Let's add in a little circle below that for their mouths. Their mouths are tucked right below their noses. So we're going to add in a little circle. It can overlap just a little bit, just like that. At the base where we had that rectangle, let's just extend that line over just a little bit and curve up the edges. That will be our little guy's mouth. Let's go back up and add in some eyes. Now their eyes are set off just a little bit. You know how ours are close to our nose? Theirs are a little further away. So we're going to draw the eye circles right about here, closer to the edges of our circle than you would think, just like that. One on either side. Don't worry if they're not exactly the same size. Did you know your eyes are not exactly the same size? Over the top of those eyes, right along the ridge of that circle that you just drew, let's plant our wrist and draw in a nice little arc. It goes right like that. Same thing on the other side. Nice little arc, just like that. Very good. Okay, now our little guy is sitting in a tree like koalas like to do, and he's holding on with his arm. So let's draw that front arm first. It's going to go kind of wide from this side of the face circle all the way over to this side of the nose. We're going to draw an oval that comes down about that far. It's kind of nice and wide. The top part of their arm is very wide. My guess is they're pretty strong. So there's lots of muscles in there. So this would be like from our shoulder down to our elbow. Now let's add from the elbow to the wrist another oval. Now this one is going to be skinnier. Just like that. And angled up ever so slightly. You're doing so good. All right, from here, let's add in the hand. We're going to put a circle at the end of that oval just to help us with this hand here. Their hands are very peculiar. They have 2 thumbs. Did you know that? We are going to draw one at an oval, a little skinny oval right like that, with a triangle on the end. They have these crazy long fingernails, claws. And now the other thumb is tucked around the side of the tree. So then let's draw their other 2 fingers over here. Pointed down, 2 ovals, just like this. To get these ovals, I am planting my wrist and just moving my hand. I'm going around and around and around. And when I feel like I've got the shape, I'm setting my pencil down. You do the same. And on the end of those, let's add in those long fingernails with a nice little triangle, just like that. Very good. Now I said our guy was sitting in a tree, so let's give a hint of that tree. We're going to draw a line that's going to be at a diagonal. I'm going to set my pencil, or my marker, your pencil down so you can see that angle. We're going to draw a line that just comes down our paper, just like that. So let's start up at the top and drag our arm down, lifting it up when we get to the hand, just like that. We will, like I said before, be erasing all of this. So if you didn't get it exactly where you want it, go back up. Lightly drag your pencil down the paper. Give yourself a diagonal there that overlaps the hand. And then let's draw another one, just ever so slightly over from that. Just like that, right down. Just like that. Very good. Now let's move on to the body. We are going to draw the body of our koala bear is going to live right about here. We're going to draw a nice big fat oval that lives right here. So let's get our arm going. Once we have that shape, we're going to set our pencils down. See how big my oval is? It's almost like an egg shape that I'm drawing there. Nice big circle. I'm moving my whole entire arm from my shoulder to help me get that shape. You do the same, and I think you will surprise yourself. From there, we're going to add in his little leg. We're going to draw from here. We're going to draw an oval up to here, and it's going to be, again, kind of nice and fat, just like that top of the arm. The top of the leg is nice and fat as well. So a little tilted oval right there, just like this. Getting my arm going from my shoulder. We drew from the hip to the knee. Now we are going to draw from the knee to the ankle. It's going to live in front of our branch there. We're going to start at the back of that oval and come down. Going around and around, just like that. Draw in a nice little oval. This would be like from the knee to the ankle. Let's add in that foot, the base of that, with a little circle. Again, whole arm going. Inside that circle, let's give a hint to these claws that they have. Let's draw 1, 2, 3 little triangles. They can be over or above where I have them. Just draw those in so that they have a hint of what those are going to be. Now let's add in that back arm. From the side of their face, if you just want to draw a diagonal line down toward that tree, just like that. I'm planting my wrist, and from my face circle, I'm drawing a diagonal line down. And where our body oval comes in, I'm going to draw a hint of a diagonal line going, or a straight line, sorry, going up. That's going to help us know where to put in his little chest fur. Now his other leg, he is holding on to this tree, and his other leg, you just see a hint of it around the other side. So we're going to add in a little oval here. It's kind of flat. It's just his little leg is curled around the other side where we can't see. And we're going to add in 3 triangles there. These triangles are going to be wider and fatter than those triangles. You draw them in however you see fit, and they're going to be great. Now behind our koala bear, he's sitting in the crook of a tree. So behind our koala bear, up above his head, let's draw a line that goes up, straight up, and then let's go on the other side of his ear. Take your hand to the top of your paper and just drag it on down, just like that. Now underneath his little leg, let's give a hint of where those 2 things are going to meet up. Just to put in a little line right like that. And then if you want to fill up your whole paper, you could take that line down. So it'd be like our tree came up there. All right, we have all of the shapes. I'm just double checking my guide here. We have all the shapes that we need for our koala bear, and now we are going to switch over to our marker. Now, if you've drawn with me before, we've used this technique before where we touch and flick our marker off to the side to give the indication of some fluffy fur. And we're going to do that exact thing with this little koala bear. In some areas it'll be tighter fur, and in other areas it will be looser fur. So let's start up at the top of the head here. Pick your favorite line on your circle and go ahead and touch your marker down to that line and flick it up. You're going to have on his head, around the top especially, and definitely around the ears, we're going to have some longer fur. So it's going to be a touch and a flick, and let it be a little bit longer. Now let's go around this ear back to the face. So we're going to touch and flick all the way around that circle, and I'm letting mine have a little bit longer fur. I'm planting my wrist, and I'm letting my hand kind of just go around that curve. My fur is pointed the direction my hand's naturally going to go as it comes around that. Now when that circle meets up with the head, stop right there. Let's go back up around this face shape. Let's go around from just about here. What would that be? 3/4 of the way into that ear. Go ahead and start with the face. Same thing, touching and flicking your fur all the way around toward that cute little chin, just like that. Now I'm going to stop there because my hand feels uncomfortable, and I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. So start up around your ear, touch and flick that fur all the way around. Now if you don't want to do your fur this way and you just want to trace around, you would just trace around the lines that I'm talking about. I like this because it gives it some dimension. Let's do the same thing we did on that side. Let's come inside our circle here, up by the ear, and touch and flick where we want that little face to be. Can you see on mine, I left a line that I went outside. I'm not choosing that line. I'm choosing an inside line. All right, so we've got the shape of our little koala's face. Let's do a little bit around the top part of the ear, that little inside part that I said would be pink. Let's do that same thing, touching and flicking about to there. And then I'm going to do a cute little detail where I just follow along and add in some dots. I added more on this one than I did on my guide because my drawing called for it. So you decide how many dots do you want to have. Do you want to just have like a few like that, or do you want your circle to be closed? So you could, if you want it closed, draw your dots all the way down. That just adds in a cute little detail. Now let's go on to the eyes. I did forget a shape. I always do that. Inside our circles, real quick, let's draw a little circle that is not going to get colored in. If you want to switch over to your pencil to draw that in, feel free, but I think you've got this. So I'm going to just go ahead with my marker. Let's start with the arc. Let's trace over that arc that we drew. Plant your wrist to make that nice and easy for yourself, and just trace over that arc you drew for the eye. Very good. Now let's trace over the bottom part of that circle and fill in our eye. We'll do one and then the other. If at any point I am faster than you, pause me, fill in your eye. When you're done, hit play, and I will be right here. Very good. Okay, so we've got their cute little eye. Now let's move on to the nose. For the nose, we are going to go around this shape from the rectangle up onto the oval and back down and cut over. So let's trace over that. So it's just that, almost like the top part of that oval onto that rectangle and fill that in. Now this is going to be their nose. If you look at lots of pictures of koala bears, they do have some little nostrils that live at the base here. Our little guy is looking down, so you can't see his nostrils, but their noses are very peculiar little shapes there. And they're a little bit shiny. Above the nose, to give a cute little detail again, I'm going to add in my dots, just ever so, spaced so far apart, about like that. You decide. You want them further apart? Do you not want them at all? That is up to you. Now for that line we drew, the base of the nose, this is going to be our little guy's mouth. So we're going to trace right over that, and I'm going to give it a little line at the end, just to give them a little character. It makes it look like they're up to something. And along this circle along the bottom, that would be like their little chin. I'm just going to add in just some hints of that fur, just some back and forth motion there, until I get it to be about like that, just like I want it. Now if you wanted to, on that nose, if you wanted to add in a few little dots on the side, you could do that too. You could do that on both sides if you feel like it. All right, from here, let's get that body going. Let's start with this arm. The arm is going to start up here by the face. We're going to just touch and flick right down that oval. And when we get to that elbow, we'll stop. Go ahead and change direction with your hand. And let's go up that arm to the wrist. Just like that. Very good. Now where we had the inside of that oval, we're just going to do a little bit right there. And then onto that forearm, onto the hand. So I'm going to actually go up on my thumb, start here, and come down, go onto that hand, and onto that forearm. That felt nicer to me. Now we're just going to go around that triangle, down that little thumb, around the circle on the hand, same thing, down this oval, onto the triangle, and back up. On this, I'm just kind of giving like a little sketchy kind of motion where I'm just overlapping my lines ever so slightly. You can do the same, and then back up the hand. You just drew a really intricate hand there. You should feel proud of yourself. Now let's go on to the body. Let's go to his back. We're going to go around that big egg-shaped oval that we drew with that touching and flicking of the fur. We're going to go all the way around this this oval, all the way over to where it meets up with his calf. So keep going around, just like that. Very good. Now we're going to give some indicators for the leg. We're going to go where these two shapes kind of meet up. We're going to start here and head down that calf onto the foot. We've done this on lots of animals where you just see like a hint of their hip. that helps you get some depth to your drawing when you add in these things. I had a professor in college, she used to call them bony landmarks. So your elbows, your knees, your hips, these are our bony landmarks. So same thing, this would be like right where our knee would be. Let's go up to where that would be and add in that bottom part of the leg with that touch and flick for that fur. Now we're ready to go for that foot. I'm just going to go a little bit around that circle. And then when I get to those triangular claws, I'm just going to add those in. I'm going to draw the whole triangle. You can decide if you just want to do the base of them, you can do that. If you just want to give a hint of them, you can do that as well. Okay, we need to add in our tree trunk here for the belly, so I'm just going to add that in. And his little belly is living inside there. Now let's do that back arm and back leg, and we'll be just about done. For this part where we drew up, I am going to start at the top of that line and just flick in some fur like that. And for his arm that's connected over to that tree, I'm just going to add in some longer fur there. Let's do his little back foot. Again, with those little touches and flicks, that sketchy kind of motion, I'm adding in that back foot. And when I get to those triangles, I'm going to add in my triangles. Their claws are crazy. I learned that they plant their two thumbs, they plant that claw into the tree, and that's how they hang on. Okay, let's add in our tree now. We're going to just drag our arm down our paper. When we get to our koala bear, we're going to lift up our marker and then come down just below his little leg and fill in that triangle. That's going to give us that hint of the tree. Let's do the same thing on that other side of the tree. Now if your line wavers a little bit, that's okay. Trees are not perfectly straight. So if your line is not perfectly straight, that's all right. Okay, so we drew that tree branch all the way down. Now let's give that indicator of the tree trunk above him and on the other side of him, all the way down. Let your arm waver a little bit. It makes it look a little bit more realistic. Trees are not perfectly shaped. You just drew a super cute koala bear. If you wanted to add in any more little details, if you wanted to add in some more dots, you could add in a few dots right here if you wanted. Where else? I think that's probably good. We are ready to switch over to our eraser and erase all of our pencil lines, and I think you're going to be surprised at what you just drew. I'm going to switch back to my guide because I did draw this one in pencil, and I'm going to erase right along with you. Just go ahead and gently go over your pencil markers with your eraser. I'm using my hand to hold down my paper so I don't crinkle it. And I'm just going to erase. Take my drawing out from under there so you can see a little bit better. You did such a good job drawing a koala bear. Thank you, Daya, for the suggestion. If you want to see a koala bear that I just drew, I have a time-lapse video. I think if you scroll a little bit further down on my page, you'll see I time-lapsed that last little bit of that drawing. You can see how I built that guy over time. I'll put a picture on here later on today of this cool thing my husband built me so that I could do these tutorials for you a little easier. And you can see how I get my overhead views. It's pretty cool. If you want some more to do today, you can find me online at RebeccaInc.com. Today I am going to post, we drew this hawk. Rhonda Boster wanted to draw this last week. I'm going to post a coloring page on there that you can download and color. That should be something else fun you can do. And you can also find me on Instagram at RebeccaInkabink.com, and again Facebook, Rebecca Inc, I-N-K, because I like to draw with ink. I hope you are staying safe and staying healthy. Look forward to drawing with you tomorrow. Send me your drawings. I can't wait to see your adorable koala bears. We'll see you soon. Bye.